Kia ora, no mai hara mai ki all on the table. A podcast created to create a safe space to discuss a whole bunch of topics that are important to us and our whānau. In our first season, we set out to explore learning and education. We speak with parents about their experiences with hybrid learning during COVID for our children, schools, and whānau. Unpacking the highs and lows, we hope this koorero not only helps our parents think more about the future of their child's learning, but also serves as inspiration for the future of learning in our education system. Let us put everything all on the table. Kia ora whānau, how you going? Hoping you're doing well. Welcome. It's not ASK.Q live, but we are here with a super special episode tonight, all on the table, the live show, episode 5, finishing off our awesome season. Hope you've been watching. And whānau, I'm here with two awesome guests today. What we might do, whānau, first is, quick intros, man. All good?
Yeah, cool. Tēnā korua, ko Rūtakuhua, ko whiti inia hau, ko tumuake ki te wetere kura. My name's Lou. I'm the principal of Wesley Primary School. I'm originally from Fiji.
Kia ora, ko Mel Paikia Tautila Noa ahau. I am currently working as a business manager for our construction company that my husband and I started about 6 years ago, and also have the real privilege of spending a lot more time with our younger two kids who are just in their early days of kura. Yeah.
Cool.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. Nah, thanks for joining us tonight. Whānau, we were meant to have one more person. I just want to quickly shout out to this guy. All of us know the guy that's not here tonight. Andy, brother, if you're watching, we do miss you,
Definitely
mate. But
missing
get
you,
well.
bro.
yeah, get well though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to your wisdom, bro.
Yeah. Dropping those gems.
Yeah.
But what I did tell him, I messaged him earlier. I was like, oh, should I bother him? I messaged him. I said, bro, throw us in some hard questions, bro. Throw in a spanner, man. Get us thinking and scratching our heads. So fingers crossed later, whānau, as we go through our koorero. I'm going to flick over to my phone and see if there's any cool questions that come up from whānau. And hopefully we get a hard one from them. Cool. So whānau, might just get straight into it tonight. I guess the first question, I just want to quickly chat, and this is more of, I guess, a bit of a summary or reflection on hybrid education, man. Just have a quick little chat, like, what's hybrid education for you guys?
To me, firstly, a disclaimer to the people out there. What I'm saying as a principal is, my opinion, not necessarily the opinion of all principals, but I've been lucky enough to have journeyed with the principals of the ASK.Q Trust over the recent years, especially during COVID and the recent flooding in Auckland. And so some of the things I say will be based on the kaupapa from ASK.Q Trust and Manaia Kalani Education Trust, and just the experiences of our kura. So it's not, I'm speaking for myself, so it's not necessarily for everyone, and I'm not the expert by any means. Andy's the expert. He's not here, so I'm the cheap stand-in. To me, it's about how learning can be ubiquitous anywhere, and it can happen in any context. And school, as a setting, has a traditional form of learning, and through technology and the way that education is accessed, I define hybrid as it could be on a phone, it could be on a tablet, it could be unplugged as well. It could be something that a teacher sets up that a kid takes home, unpacks with their parents. It could be at the library. To me, it's really about making learning more than just in front of a kaiako in a traditional setting. I think it's really cool. I think it's,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you kind of covered it pretty well.
I was about to say, I was like, oh, man.
What a hog, man. Give me some answers.
Yeah.
No, you did wrap that up really well. I think all I would really add to that is that what you touched on, like learning comes in all different forms. And I think that, I've parented children literally over decades. So I have kids in their late 20s, I have kids in their late teens, early 20s, and then I've got little kids who are just beginning at school. And so I've seen the education system change as a parent over the years. But one thing I always loved is that learning can be done anywhere at any time with anybody, like in the car, in song, and so I've always been a huge advocate of just always teaching my kids when they were young in the car, you know, how many things can you see, or what colour is that? And so they're learning all the time. And I was always really attracted to that sort of curriculum too at different schooling or education systems, but I didn't know that it was like hybrid learning. It's just that it became a really fancy term in COVID, and I guess I aligned hybrid learning to what I experienced in COVID, which was 30-minute online classes and then all this work that you had to sit and do with your child. And like as a parent, it was a nightmare. I didn't we didn't navigate it. I know, but it's not the teacher's fault, but we just didn't know. We were so ill-equipped as parents to navigate that. It really gave us a huge appreciation for what teachers actually do. Yeah. But I think that that was our first go at it, and I think that we can make it better. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of teachers, it was like payback. Oh, now you know what we have to do.
And I think a lot of parents realised,
Yeah.
That's super cool. It's interesting now though, like how, like you know, I think we were chatting earlier, like we're way out of COVID now, but I don't know what it's like at your kura, but it's super normal now. Like it's a part of. I work at a couple of different kura, and I know one kura they literally still have a hybrid education plan in place to support all these different learners. So I guess it's been a lot of learnings, but I think a massive success to some degree, maybe for some of the kura too. And but yeah, it was just really interesting. We've come so far away from COVID, and it's cool to see it. You know, to some degree, in my eyes anyway, this is just me, like, see it thriving and continue to support.
Because don't you reckon that before COVID, like, for a school to close, it had to be a pretty dramatic event for a school to close. Then COVID happened, then everything shut down. And now I just feel like schools are a lot more willing to, like, allow for their students to work from home. I mean, weather incidences, that we had that big factory fire recently, and we got a text to say keep your kids at home. So I think that it's come a long way from COVID, like, and it's allowed maybe education or schooling systems to not be so like this is the only way everyone must be at school every single day of the week. Yeah.
Started to break the glass of the old, eh?
Yeah.
So, break through the window maybe. You'd probably be better to speak to this.
I feel like what Mel was saying was spot on. Like, I think for a lot of people, kaiako are just people, you know.
Yeah.
We had to move out of I suppose a place of a traditional transactional teaching approach to something a bit more of a partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, a lot of schools, they have in their strategic plan one of their goals, and normally the third goal is whānau engagement. That's what they have. Even we have it at Wetiri. But like a core part of that is getting whānau to be involved in the learning program, whether it be, the traditional methodology was homework.
Yeah.
A homework sheet would come home and you'd do that with your kid, and then you'd go, oh yeah, I'm a good parent. I feel great about this, my kid's, successful and, get a real buzz out of it. But because of COVID, what it meant was actually we're going deeper than homework.
Yeah.
We're going into, passion projects, inquiries, things that children like ask questions about in the middle of a lesson. Yeah, what is gravity? Okay, we're doing maths right now. And if you're a mum or dad and you get stuck with one of those ones, I suppose that's the beauty of having systems set up in schools where kaiako feel a sense of strength now. A lot of the teachers at my kura have class sites, and they make their learning fully transparent and visible. And it's not like a hidden thing.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my planning. This is me, and you keep that. So making that way more accessible has meant that actually, all of our parents can see it. It's not a silver bullet though, because I think the relationship aspect of knowing your learner, that old saying that the parent is the first kaiako, actually is so true. And we learnt that during COVID, because we found out things about our kids that we didn't know, and parents were coming up with solutions to, reading difficulties that some of our kids had, and we've been trying to work that out for a little while, and parents would come up with these solutions, and like honestly, it was a real silver lining of COVID actually, getting closer to that whānau engagement aspect, and yeah, in some ways maybe. Q, I think you were alluding to it before, as you're saying, things have moved on from COVID, and so some schools, and like ours, we've dropped a few things that no longer are applicable. But I think the core parts of it definitely have stayed true, actually, and it's been good. Yeah, it's been a good thing.
Sorry, pardon me.
Oh, burped.
Sorry. Well, I was sitting there trying to listen and try not to burp because that was really cool.
At least you broke the ice.
Yeah, I broke it. I opened it up, man.
First burp. Feel free. There'll be more burps later.
Yeah. Just do it in the break, so when we go to edit later on and chop it up, we can cut it out.
I thought this was live.
Man, so just on that, man, and really great kōrero. It sort of flows into a question that I really want to pose, and what I wanted to see is thinking forward into the future, and if we really were to even hone in and really refine our hybrid education practices within our school, but also within our homes, what would success look like for you as a parent, but also too what would the success for you look like from the school perspective, but we not necessarily for the child, because we know we're trying to help educate our child, but just sort of wouldn't mind if we had a bit of a kōrero around that.
Oh, for me, I think it comes down to the partnership model, because you really hit the nail on the head when you said it becomes a relationship with the learner as well. So you need to understand how your child learns, and I think even as a parent who has been, this education system is all I've known my whole entire life. It's what I grew up with. It's what I've seen my children mostly grow up with. Shifting outside of that, even for myself, and understanding that because for example, I hope I'm getting to the point here, but for example, when you get report cards from your school and then they'll sort of gauge where your child's learning is or where it should be according to a certain standard. And, if they have trouble with reading, they might be a little bit lower. And so for me, as a parent, I've always sort of modelled what I will teach my kids around that. Oh, we need to focus on their reading. They're struggling or they're falling behind. But actually now I'm more not being afraid of that, but honing into what are the things that they are passionate about and how can we make reading more fun so that they want to learn. So I think that's a huge part of it. And so I think just getting comfortable with other outcomes would be a really positive thing moving forward, other than the ones that we currently have in place. And I think that we're getting more comfortable with that conversation too, even between parents and teachers. And I see a lot of teachers pushing for that sort of learning environment as well. So, but that would be the thing, a really good partnership. And, because I think my kids aren't the standard readers and learners but they're really clued into other things. So I think that's why it would be super important to have that partnership and that relationship, and then getting comfortable with standards that are a little bit outside the box, maybe. Yeah.
That's a really good answer.
Oh, thanks. From the principal.
I was reflecting on that part where you talked about, if we're open to something that isn't the norm, which is, I think for a long time schools have been doing national standards, so it's only normal for us to report on that, right? And being open to this idea that as we move into a age where we have things like chat GPT. I still call it the other thing sometimes. Andy Crow will laugh at that.
He says hi, by the way. Yeah, he's online. He says hi.
He'll be asking me the hard questions. you know, that this idea that, you know, you've got disruptive technology coming into education whereby a kid could potentially write an essay with prompts in that specific AI and refine it, maybe do some editing and put it in for submission and get an A result. Now, in the context of hybrid learning, if a child is working from anywhere, any place, and a parent is okay with that, what does that mean to national standards?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that then mean that the teacher is no longer doing the assessment? Maybe we need an AI to do the assessment. Tautoko, a principal, I won't name him and I won't take the glory. Someone else came up with that idea. Yes, so when you consider the things that are hybrid, it's not just changing learner or parent behaviour. It's changing teacher behaviour, kaiako behaviour, and principal tomoake behaviour, and how we lead. And I think personally, the shift that I had to make internally seems kind of like a weird thing to share with you guys because I haven't talked to you guys about education before, is that I had to let go. I had to be okay with a certain level of unknownness around that reading output or writing output, because those kids were not going to come to school.
Yeah.
And for our community in Wetiri, we went through a lot of struggles around poverty around that time, because job losses and families, you know, kids not going to school, older siblings working in supermarkets during the lockdowns. So learning program, you know, really had to be quite innovative. And I suppose I would hope that hybrid learning and education helps principals and kaiako take risks and think it, like what you said, Mel. I like that, you know, think outside the square for a solution. And I think maybe focusing on strengths of the learner rather than what they're traditionally not so good at, to leverage off what might be a successful outcome. Like you nailed it with the comment about what they're passionate about, like a passion project, to then help them grow in their reading.
Yeah.
Because nothing inspires engagement than something that the kid is into.
Yeah.
And I also think back to my mum. Happy birthday, Mum!
Oh,
if you're watching,
Happy birthday.
it's her
Lisa.
birthday
Sorry
today.
Sorry to take you
Sorry,
away
I'm
from
here,
Mum's birthday.
not with you.
Oh,
Thanks, Q.
I need to
No,
buy
I
a
saw her
present.
earlier. Just disclaimer that one. But yeah, no, like my mum really, you know, she was a teacher. She was a kaiako in Fiji, and she really tried her best to give me a good education and do the same thing that you talked about. You know, like grow on my strengths. And I was into music, so she really invested in my music stuff.
Yeah.
And that helped me get better at maths, because I wasn't good at maths. Sorry, disclaimer again. Principal, not good at maths. But you know what I mean? Like, so she saw that strength. And so I think for parents out there looking at hybrid, like the fear of the technology might be the first barrier.
Yeah.
Not having access to the technology might be the second barrier. But then actually parents are the first kaiako. So I think for a lot of us, you know, we've got an opportunity. I'm going around in circles. Can you just summarize what I've said?
Man,
I'll self-summarize? Try to?
I was going to try, but I was like, man, there's layers on layers there of
there's
gold,
too many
man.
layers.
No. But what I get
live, I haven't scripted it at all.
I think you worded that well. I think the one extra thing to add to it would be, you mentioned and you talked about, you know, risk and just over the entire learning, over time learning about hybrid education, changing to how our young people were schooled. Like, you teachers took a risk. Massive. Like, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Some of it didn't work. Some of it really did work. And then some of the stuff that has worked really well is still being used today. But even parents, us as parents, I mean, I don't have any kids at school, like, you know, us as parents of kids at ECE, but like, even as parents, we took a massive risk as well, because, you know, we didn't know, you know, how's that going to work? You know, my kid's just sitting on the computer. Are they doing work? Like, it's sort of like doing homework, you know, when you're...
They're just playing games, bro.
Yeah.
Playing games.
As long as they start talking about gravity after. But you know, there's a lot of risk there. But I think like maybe moving forward and as you say, with the disruption of technology, us as teachers and schools potentially need to risk a little more maybe as well. But really risk it, especially in regards to that use of technology as well, I think. With technology, as you all know, it's all learn how to use it and then make mistakes, keep going. But technology is a huge part of like how education is delivered and how we can help support our young people as well at home as parents. So
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that one, to be honest. But it was sort of like, it got me thinking about my next sort of question, which was like thinking about hybrid learning, and have you got any like cool, innovative ways on how we can better utilize technology to think about hybrid education, aside from what we've already been through, man? Maybe we've learnt a lot and we've got like a little light bulb moment, you know? Yeah, just wanted to throw that one in there.
No, I haven't had any light bulb moments.
Oh.
One thing I will say, though, that I do love about technology that a lot of schools are using now is like apps where they are informing you know, through pictures, videos of what the kids have been learning at school, which I absolutely I don't know how they find time to do it, to be honest, during the day with everything they've already got to do. But as a parent, I love that so much because, you know, when kids grow up, they get home from school, you're like, how was school today? Good.
Oh, yeah.
What did you do? Nothing. That's about the conversation. Whereas if I can see, when they get home, I'm like, oh my gosh, did someone bring a bird to school today? I saw it sitting on your head. And then that will engage this whole conversation.
Yeah.
And it's the same with their learning. Like, oh, did you guys do fractions today? And then it'll be like, yes, I learnt about, and then we can actually have this great conversation. And it helps, I feel like, cement some of the learning that they've had throughout the day. So that's, I guess, really all I have to add. But I love that. It's such a cool use of technology. I think a really great way for parents and teachers to keep parents engaged in that learning. Like you said, not keep it like gatekeeping it, but sharing it. And then we can then continue the koorero at home and help cement what they're already learning in the classroom. Yeah.
How did that compare with your older kids? Thinking about like some of them that might not have had that kind of app.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Gosh, no. Like, I mean, you still would write their lunch orders on a brown paper bag and send the cash in the brown paper bag, you know, like.
I remember that.
So, and that's what I would get. What did you do at school today? Nothing. Did you do any reading? I don't know. So I couldn't, you know, but this opens up this whole new avenue of conversation that we can have. Yeah, I love it.
One sorry to jump in. I do want to come to yours. One I got this this was a comment that we had posted by some whānau that were been watching some of the episodes online. This was posted ages ago, but I'll just read out the whole comment here. Really interesting one. Sort of talks along the lines of what you want, but our kura utilizes Messenger for absences. Messenger for lateness and also for any general messages. So Messenger, man. I don't know if you the teachers, any pānui the teachers need to share with parents. Parents are able to ask questions to the teachers and to the parent body, ranging from, does my child need to wear number ones today? What credits do my child need to catch up on? No more absent notes. So, man, I was just buzzing out. Oh, sorry, I'll read that last little bit. The kura also has funding to enable every whānau of the kura access to internet, man, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Modi order. So that was from the bro Zach, man. Zach, that was a really cool question. We got a cup coming your ways, you know, just FYI. Yeah. Oh, we'll hook you up with the cups too. sorry. But I thought, like, and that's why I wanted to come back to you, bro. Messenger in school, bro. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
You probably have your own app, though.
Yeah. We before COVID, we've been on that journey with Mana Kalani and Ako Hiko. So one of our pedagogies is learn, create, share. So you learn something, you might make something, and then you share it. And during COVID, the two platforms that we really engaged in firstly was Blogger. So every kid at our kura has a blog and a class blog. And we also used Class Dojo for our junior school because the juniors didn't have a blog. So the teacher would then post on behalf of the kids, but the kids might create the content and then it'd be posted by the teacher. But same vibes though. It was like, you know, parents' feedback during the lockdown phase was that, so they were seeing what the kids were doing in front of them, and they were like, they were totally getting it. They were like, okay, so this is why we post on here, because the only way that the teacher could really do any assessment, or not really, like no formal assessment, but formative assessment, is if the kid posted from home.
Yeah.
So the parent got to see not just the share part, which is what traditionally happened before COVID. They got to see the learn part and the create part too. So I think for a lot of different kura out there using different platforms or apps, I think it's you've got to use what you think is going to be accessible. So internet not working, well, of course it's not going to be accessible.
Yeah.
Internet's working, but maybe device not accessible, or the platform. Most people have a mobile phone these days, so apps that work through that system I think is really cool. And Messenger, those vibes.
Those chill vibes.
Yeah, sometimes you might get a different kind of messenger. Ministry of Education. For my kura, we do have a Facebook page, so we do actually get messages through that. But we've used school links as well, and that generates a text message format, and that tells us when the text message has been also read and responded to. Yeah, so that was sort of like our win over lockdown, that we worked out how to do that, because you know we were finding that, you know, like in an emergency, how do you get the message out that school's actually closed or opening or whatever? So now that system's running really well. I think there's something else in there that you're trying to find out. Can you just repeat the question one more time, bro?
Bro, to be honest, I was throwing that in because I wanted to lead to another question, bro.
Okay.
And the question was like, man, and then this one is probably for you, bro. Yeah. It's like, hold on. Sorry, Andy asked a question too.
Oh, no, not Andy.
Oh, wait, we'll come back. Nah, man, like, if you had all the resource in the world, you had the access to some creative minds, and you could develop something. Maybe it was technology, because I love technology, of course. You could develop something that could really, really help you either, take hybrid education to the next level, right? But take education to the next level. What would it be? No holds barred, man. Like, what do you think would really help you support your strategic plan and vision, man?
Oh, this is kind of controversial. But, you know, for a lot of our kids who are wealthy families, they can afford things like Kumon and private tuition stuff. I think it's quite cool. Like, you have things like Khan Academy and Prodigy. Some of our kids use that at kura, which is adaptive gamification of like simple maths tasks, and you win badges and points and whatnot. But take that to a level whereby you actually have like a tutor that's AI that then engages with kids in a safe way. And we've got things like Cyber Smarties at school. Totoko Haj on that one. Dougie Howlett set that up at our kura, and that helps kids like learn how to act in a pro-social way online. So these kind of like AI-based tools, which help kids achieve not just numeracy or literacy, but Cyber Smart helps with the safety aspects and how do you be like polite online, be respectful online, because that's the kind of stuff that I think kids need to learn how to do now, so they prepare for the future, because there's, they're going to be dealing with AI by the time they're in their university years. My kids are, and they'll be dealing with far more sophistication. So why not leverage off that now, so that it provides accessibility to that, and it's not just doing the parent's job. I think a parent reading a book with a kid is the best. Like, ain't no better hybrid learning than that. But I'm talking about like specific things. So if a kid is learning algebra, they're stuck, content gets sent home from school, they log in, and then the adaptive tech, the AI helps that. Does that make sense?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's a sales pitch to someone out there. If
Yeah.
Tech,
I mean,
it'll do Kumon out of a business though.
Yeah. They've been going for years.
Wow. that'll
Shake
be-
it up, Q. Shake it
Oh,
up.
man. I wish.
Shake it up. Shake it up.
Oh, they could call it ASK.Q.
Sorry, guys, we're ending the live now. I've got to go do some important work.
Just turned into a sales pitch. ASK.Q.
So did you want to answer that one too? Or, I mean,
I
whānau
don't
perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything that we've learned in life is that if like change is always going to happen, and you're going to either fear it or you're going to jump on board with it. And technology is exactly the same. It's literally the way of the future. And if you're going to be fearful of it, you're going to miss that train. And unfortunately, it will impact. It could impact for your child's learning if you're not willing to. I mean, look, I'm no tech smarty, but I know what I need to know to do what I got to do with the kids, But I see the value in it. And I feel like if I didn't jump on board that train, then my kids would miss out because it's just the reality of what their future is going to look like. So, yeah, I think I totally call your whole koorero around the safety aspect, and it's almost like learning online, socially acceptable behaviour, but online. What's polite and what's and it's just a necessity for our kids growing up into the future. I think, yeah. Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. That'll be really cool to make that, man. Honestly, I think it'll be. It's, there's some of the themes we've talked about, taking risks. So as parents, as teachers, but even being able to keep up with the technological changes that are coming and that are being super, super disruptive, not only to the education system but to many, many more. I guess what I wanted to jump into next is, as we move super fast. And you're sort of touching on this, being able to be nice people, like us, we were just touching on, having all of those normal social skills and stuff like that. I guess if we were to move in a, more hybrid sort of learning space, or even just, education just completely changes up the wazoo, man. Who knows where it's going, literally, We could wake up tomorrow and it'd be completely different. What can we do, or what do you think we should keep in mind as we move through these changes in regards to the mental and the social and the general well-being of our rangatahi, man, of our kids? What do you think?
I reckon that traditionally people have often used online as a place to hide who they really are. And I mean, you hear the term keyboard warriors all the time, and you only have to look at the Mangere Bridge community page feedback to see a really good example of that. But I think that it's really crucial around teaching our kids to be more transparent online, maybe, or because we talk about it all the time with social media projecting one image and all of that. But I think if we could make them comfortable to be who they really are, and not go and not use it as a facade, I guess. I don't know how we do that, but I think that if we can shift that thinking with our young ones, I don't know, could be a little bit safer, perhaps. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question, but...
No. It touches on it. Yeah, definitely, man.
The other day, my 4-year-old showed me how he could take a photo on a tablet and swipe and delete it and pick another photo, and very soon he'll probably know how to post that very soon. 4 years old, and I couldn't even use a digital camera when I was 18 years old. I don't, you know what I mean? We didn't have smartphones when I was in high school. We had the old Nokias that didn't break, and I think you're right. It's coming. It's requires a lot of input from whānau. And I think parents need to ask the question, what is going to be helpful to my child? What isn't going to be helpful? And then how do I know more about this? Because, for a lot of families, Facebook is probably the go-to for a lot of older people like myself. I'm a Facebook person.
I'm still hanging around there. Yeah.
But, our kids are on TikTok, they're on Discord, they're on, random ass stuff that is completely open. And you're right, people randos do hide in there, and we do need to, there's a safety aspect of it. But I think the best thing is to koorero and talk about it, and as a parent, I'm starting to learn how to own my feelings.
Yeah.
So as a new parent, I don't know what I'm talking about really, but I've only got a 10-month-old and a 4-year-old. I really don't know. You're the expert.
No.
But that koorero part, right? It's like, own my feelings. Yeah, I'm worried about this because blah, 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 blah. And then that way the kid understands, oh, okay, well, maybe I should listen here. This is important to mum or dad,
Yeah.
And hybrid learning is no different. And I think the things that are coming up, especially the disruptive stuff, is now's the time to talk about it. It's don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till something bad happens to talk about it. Because it's actually a cool opportunity, right? I got lost.
Oh, all good, man. I'm
It is
getting
though,
lost
it
a
is
little
a
bit
cool
too.
area.
Yeah,
It's the
but
hot
there's so
lights,
much,
man.
there's so much to think about, man.
Yeah.
Like, because we're talking about like, the future, and really what we know about the future is we only know what we know now.
Yeah.
But really to inspire and think about the future requires like probably a massive as whiteboard for us, man. Maybe we do need to do a
Post-it
whiteboard.
notes.
Yeah. We need to do a whiteboard session
yeah,
podcast thing. It's like, oh, this could be it, maybe not. Okay, we need to test this one quick. So
It's an Andy Crow.
yeah. Oh. Andy, you are missed, mate. You are missed. Missed you. Oh, next time, maybe we'll do a second episode of this one episode, part 2, and we'll put out a whiteboard, eh?
Andy's reflection.
Yeah. I got a couple. I'll just quickly do a quick little sideline here. Quick little sideline here. We got what have we got here? I got a couple of questions. Oh, what's our time? Hold on. Oh yeah, okay. Heaps of time, Whaanau. Heaps of time. Just a couple of nothing too hardcore here. Cool koorero whānau. What have we got here? Using YouTube to help me with learning. Someone noted that down in there. I guess hybrid. Yeah. This is probably back when I think this one came through a while ago, actually, sorry. Report cards via email and newsletters are pretty cool. Get the info on what class is doing on that day. Fast. Could be Messenger. He could be talking about Messenger. But yeah, here's a question for Lou. I don't know who asked this. It looked like an Andy question, but what? No. This is probably an easy one for you, bro. What can parents do to influence their children's school around the future of education?
Go have a talanoa. Go have a koorero. Ask the principal what they think. Ask the teachers how they're using I suppose there's always stuff coming out from the ministry, like priorities, like hybrid learning is a priority, right? Engagement is a priority. But I think the best thing that educators appreciate is when someone comes in and goes, oh, I don't, what's going on? I want to know more. And I love it when parents, ask me, like, what is gravity kind of questions, like it's actually... Yeah, I think that's the starting point. But then there is, there's a whole bunch of different books and literature out there online. I think what education is trying to get to at the moment is, for our kura, is strengthening our learners' ability to access those technologies that help them, but then also trying to provide the tools that address the equity issue. And this is just, I'm only talking for my kura, but for those parents that might even just be struggling to get onto the internet, so, giving a website link ain't going to work.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that we try to do at Wetiri and our ASK.Q hub is to have sessions with whānau where we talk about the device, talk about cyber smart, we talk about how useful it is. At Talanoa Ako last night, we had a parent who came for the first time. That was the first parent-teacher thing that he had been to.
Wow.
And I was doing my walk-around thing, and the kid, the formal part of it had finished with the Talanoa with the teacher, and the teacher went off to have some kai, and it was just the dad and his son. And I said to them, "Oh, do you want to show your dad anything else?" He said, "Oh, I want to show you my blog." So he went up to we had all the blogs up on this big screen, and interactive screen thing, and he found his blog, showed the dad the blog, and then his dad said, "Oh, that's so cool." Kind of like what you're saying about your daughter, what she was doing with fractions and that. And then the next thing the kid showed was Kia News, which is made by our kids. And then that got played, and it was all about Samoan Language Week from a few weeks back. And for me, that parent learnt more about the future of education in that moment from his kid than I could have ever done. But the koorero started by creating a space at Talanoa. So parents coming in, talking, listening, us hearing, figuring out what is it, you know. Because I think the dissonance is always going to be there. Education ain't going to be perfect overnight. And it's never going to be perfect, to be honest. But I think, if that brother or sister or whatever pronoun they wish to use, if they want to go and see their school principal and they're a good person, they'll listen and they'll try to awhi them.
I agree. Even as a parent, I think that from what I've seen, teachers love nothing more than when you engage with them about your own child's learning. And I've always experienced really like open arms when I've gone to question something or find out a little bit more information from teachers. So I would, and I feel like if that's one shift I've seen in the system over the years is that teachers and principals and schools as a whole are a lot more approachable than they used to be, say, when my older girls were smaller. It was a more hierarchical sort of relationship where, whereas it's shifted now, it's definitely shifting into like, having that open space to have that open koorero.
For Savani, like just very quickly, any sort of helpful words, maybe some of those parents that still may find it like intimidating or just don't know where to start about reaching out and just, wanting to engage more? Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like, I guess it's kind of, it's your right as their parent or as their guardian, and so you have every right to go and maybe approach it from that, like you would do anything for your child, and so if that is going to be the best thing to approach. So I think just try to go in confident and knowing that you have the right, and it doesn't have to be combative either. I think that's the other thing. It's actually like
a lot of the times it's always you're going in for the grabbing thing. You're like, oh, no, my kids done something maybe for you.
Exactly. They're approachable. It's a lot more approachable. Maybe, I don't know, maybe take a support person with you if you need to. But fight for your child's learning rights, I say.
Yeah. I tautoko that, yeah. Back in the day when I was at Wesley Intermediate, we had some parents who would like talk to each other. And so they'd bounce ideas off each other, and sometimes, like, what you think is, needs working on, you might find that another parent might also, be grappling with that too. Yeah. So then, sense check it with another parent, maybe in the same class, if they've got a buddy in the same class. And then, I know it takes a lot of courage to make an appointment with the principal or a kaiako, but sometimes a low-key conversation that's not a formal complaint or something like that, a low-key conversation is just way better and way easier. And it is actually our job to respond to the parent's role, to ask for explanation or clarity, or that's what we're paid to do. And, structures in a traditional school model, and there's lots of schools that still operate like that, like institutional models, whereby there is, office lady, a AP, a DP, and then you get to the principal,
right? And
then even then it might be, like months later, and then the problem is, gotten bigger, whatever you might be facing. But yeah, I regularly get messages from parents wanting to catch up, and just spoke to a dad today, and I think for for us, it's a blessing when a parent opens up and has that vulnerable conversation with us. I really appreciate that. To all the parents, if you do end up watching this, I do thank you for doing that, because that helps us do our job better. Helps me to understand how we can be more responsive. So that's from an actual principle. I appreciate it, and a lot of my mates who are principals do the same thing. It's no different.
So they can just shoot you a DM, bro?
Yeah,
Messenger.
Messenger.
I don't know how they find me on Facebook. I'm on private. Still find me.
All these friend requests.
Yeah.
Nah, that's cool, man. Oh, sorry, I'll just quickly check. Man, to be honest, Whaanau, like, it feels like we're only scratching the surface of this all. I'm just checking to see if there's any other comments. Okay. Nah, you've been doing good, man.
Yes.
Straight up, like, but I'm looking at the time. I'm like, damn, it's not enough time. Like, I don't know. It's been cool, like, having you both. Like, just FYI, thank you for your time,
cool,
man.
bro.
And sorry, it's an Andy. Oh, what was this? Sorry. Oh, here's okay. I'm just gonna read. I think this is a comment. Hopefully, team, this is a comment. Yep. But I'm just gonna read this one. Oh, yep. All good. We got the go ahead. I feel we have more access to seeing our kids at school, what they're doing and how they're progressing with school pages. So this is just, I guess, a comment on how open, not only like because you mentioned, it seems like there's more of a open door policy at your school, like even online too. Sorry. I might just get my team. Hey guys, can you just flick me a quick message on this last comment that was sent 9 minutes ago? I'll come back to that one in a bit. I might try and slide in another quick little question. One, because we will start to wrap it up, because I know he's got to get home to whānau as well.
Jeebus.
Yeah, it's nine already, man. Like, it's been too cruisy,
My
man.
kids are going to be cold down.
Thanks, Becky, for looking after the kids.
Lou's got to pick up a birthday cake now.
But I'll get the birthday. I'll buy it, bro. You let me know, man. Straight up, man.
And some flowers for Becky.
Oh,
so while you're at it.
I will get it. As we sort of lead into sort of the end of this episode, for me, my hope with this entire season was to really, encourage, and I'm sure, like, some of what you have said tonight, like, hopefully, my hope is that it really encourages our whānau at home to get more involved, but to really question the future of their child's education and also the schooling education, the education system itself, man. But the sort of last question that I wanted to ask was, like, where do you think potentially the education system could go or is looking to go? Just want to have a bit of a powwow around that. There's a bit of a, we are literally in a time where it could go anywhere. So much, but yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there, man. And if we, it was funny on episode 4, we asked this one last question, and I really loved the comment that came out of it, and it was like, I don't know right now. It was, and if that's,
I was thinking.
I felt like I was going to go more down that AI path again.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just want to throw it out there, man.
Yeah, AI.
Yeah.
That's where it's going.
Chat GPT. There's a difference between where I think it should go and where it's going.
Ooh.
Is that all right? Say that?
I was just throwing it out there, bro.
Yeah. I think depending on how politics go, education has to be resistant to which party's in power. And that's a common rhetoric amongst principals right now.
Yeah, that's so true.
And kaiako, because I'm not going to name a party or anything like that, but let's say if we go back to our form of assessment, for example, that changes how hybrid learning will work. If we have more floods, if we have another pandemic, I don't want to trigger anyone and say that I've got some inside knowledge on that. I don't. But like legit, if other stuff, catastrophic stuff happens and we have to go to a lockdown model or something like that, then I think there are things that we've been able to do which has made it flexible enough so that schools could have a little bit of autonomy on it. But imagine an education system which is rigid, which has outcomes which are really time-bound and no creativity for individual communities to develop their own maro, which is like a localised curriculum. For us, that would mean that we would be forced to take out language, culture and identity from our curriculum, our maro, which is where we're heading. And I worry about that sometimes. And I think if you have the, in the words of Phil Gordon, if you have the academic rigour at the same level as cultural and social in the curriculum, then our learners are actually really well-rounded. And that's what our families want. When we did the Talanoa Ako, our graduate profile showed that they really wanted our core values of whakamana, manakitanga and kaitiakitanga to be right at the top of how we deliver our curriculum. So our parents want it, our kids want it, our staff want it. But then if we are spending hours and hours just doing reading and writing and maths, which is great, the top subjects, but where's our kids' language? Where's their identity? Where's their ability to use their strengths to, and I'm coming back to you, Mel. I think you nailed it. Using your kids' passions and strengths to leverage their weaknesses or gaps, learning gaps. And so, I think that's the future that's coming, and it could go either way. But as a principal, I've got a amazing team of kaiakoe wetiri, who are just resilient as hell, and they just keep going and keep being innovative. And parents in our community are the same, so they keep going on that journey with us. So we'll be all right. But controversially, I am a little bit concerned where it could end up. And globally, the trend is more towards that top-down approach,
Yeah.
And that's never results well for Māori Pacifica
No,
peoples.
that's right. Feels like a backward step.
Yeah. Sorry if that offended anyone online, but not sorry.
That would almost be tragic if it went back to that. Yeah.
It's my truth, though,
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I was just thinking about
Sorry to go too deep.
No, man.
That's
Right
the reality,
that's-
though. That's
yeah.
the reality,
Yeah.
though.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it does. That's huge.
But I like what
It
you
must
said.
be quite jarring for principals. Like if you have one political party leading this way, and then boom, another one gets in, and it's all of a sudden you got to adapt a whole new structure, or
Especially after, I imagine, because a lot of that stuff, everything takes time, man, to build stuff like that, and you probably had whānau working on it for freaking
momentum.
Yeah,
It takes
momentum,
a while to get momentum.
gathering info from whānau, then, talking amongst as your team, boom, we got this really cool, curriculum developed, program developed, and then boom, sorry, we actually got to, don't have to throw stuff out the window again, eh? But you're right,
Go back to 1949.
No,
Come on, we're way ahead. I guess one thing we can, I guess, one positive thing that we can say about all of this, whatever way that goes, is I think the, hybrid education, but also teachers, our parents, all of us can really celebrate the fact that we can push through the changes fast, quick. We've been through it now over and over. So wherever the road takes us, man.
Yeah.
I think we'll be ready. Yeah.
Much more adaptable.
And let's hope the government structure though is ready for what's that?
To keep up.
No. I mean, but whānau, man, might stop it there. Is there any last couple of things you want to say before we cruise on out, man?
I mean, I think all I would encourage parents to do is where they're able to be as involved as you can with your child's learning, whatever that looks like. I totally appreciate that some parents work and they've got mahi and it's just not possible and they engage with their learning in other ways. But one thing I've always done is I've always made myself known to my children's teachers, and not in a really formal way.
Oh, there's Mel. She's in the car
But the
park.
principal... Just somehow I just get myself on their radar. I want them to know I'm an involved parent.
Cool. Yeah.
So anything that's going on with my kid, I'm going to be a part of it, and in a protective way, but also in a partnership way. And the last thing I would say is, like, be firm, but be kind to teachers. I think they do an incredible job with our kids. Yeah, and just look, I've always appreciated teachers, but COVID really, really just took it to a whole other level. And I think even post-COVID, amazing. Yeah, so that's all from me.
Oh, I just get to bounce off all your cool comments, man. Yeah, nah. The vibes that you know, for our families, is that they would like to know more, because a lot of our families work really hard. They got long hours, and so when I see a comment on one of our kids, you know, class dojo or blog post from a parent, I make effort to go see that person. When next time I see them in the car park or out the front, oh yeah, you commented on that. That's so cool, you know. Because I think for a lot of our families, that does take time away from their busy schedules. But you know, starting off maybe with a short goal, like what Mel said, you know, going make yourself known, say hello, and then maybe just a small goal, like see something that they've done and make a comment once a week, and your kid will love it. Your child will get a buzz out of it, and it doesn't always have to be a formal thing. We've got families that comment on our Facebook page every single time, the same mums and dads, and then they share it with their families back in Samoa or Tonga, and
so cool.
I love that. I love the idea that our kids are making their families so proud.
Yeah.
Don't me cry. I'm gonna make myself cry. But like, you know, like that's a real vibe at our kura, and I think just tautoko any parent that wants to try that, like, you know, make a comment, and nothing beats the old cup of tea. Come in and have a cup of tea.
Do you have biscuits?
Yeah, we do.
Oh.
Too many. Sarah, be warned. That's my office manager.
Yeah, be warned. Need heaps of biscuits.
Yeah, I'm notorious for
Reduce
giving
that
away all the
biscuit
biscuits.
budget.
Might need some help to manage the DMs.
Sponsor.
Hey, what after? Oh, sorry. Let's chop it there.
All of a sudden, I'm going to get some DMs now.
Love the podcast. Yeah. Anyway, Whaanau, look, man, thank you so much for coming through tonight and giving up your time away from Whaanau, man. Special thanks to your mum. Happy birthday. Just thankful for both your fellas' time, your koorero and your presence to share. And, you know, hopefully, like, my hope is, and again, you know, hopefully there's a few gems here for our whānau watching at home, So fingers crossed, whānau, you found something fun and cool and super helpful way, you know, as you go about your daily lives with the young people. And I think that's us, whānau. Sui.
Ngā mihi.
Kia ora.
Ngā mihi. Cha. Later, whānau. Toots. Oh, we have over there.